If it wasn't for my mom, I would not know Jesus the way that I know Jesus today. So I speak a lot about, moving away and changing my life and finding Jesus, a true relationship with Jesus. But I recall before my life really hit rock bottom, I went to my mom's church, and she ministers on occasions. And she was ministering over me. I took myself up to the altar, and I had my hands up. I remember it. And she was speaking a word over me about my life changing. And I know that I can't remember the words right now, but she spoke over me a word that I know had played a huge part in why my life changed. And I thank her for that so much. But it's not that that's the only time that she's ever prayed over me. But this specific time, it's like the anointing was overflowing. And I can't put it into words. But I remember the feeling, and I just started to cry. And my mom, she wasn't the mom that was very, oh baby, you okay, and very, sweet and soft spoken. It just wasn't her. But one thing that me and my siblings can say is we felt loved in our hearts. It didn't matter if she hugged us or kissed us or caressed us. She loved us with her actions. And I will never forget how even when things were going bad, she showed up with her actions. I am so much like my mom, and I feel like years I tried to make it, put it behind me like, oh, I'm nothing like her. I am so much like my mom, and it's scary sometimes because I'll be speaking to my kids and I'll be like, that's something my mom would say. And she made sure, we had discipline, but we knew we was cared for. I can remember a time, and this is not a good thing on my part, but I want to tell this story. I had washed my clothes. We lived in an apartment where you had to go downstairs and wash. I went downstairs, I washed my clothes, and my clothes came up missing. To this day, we know it was, a specific person that stole them, but my mom, she took me to a thrift store, and, she tried to get me some clothes because all of my stuff was gone. I as sometimes as a teenager, you rotate. And back in my day, you rotated, like 7 or 8 outfits or whatever, and those are the ones that I liked. I chose, I like to wear a lot, and she picked out the worst things. And I mean, it was more so my fault because she told me to pick the stuff out, but I didn't even want to be in the thrift store. So I was able to, I didn't have a choice, really. I had to wear them. And I was irritated and I was upset and I was very immature. So I gave her attitude, and she was doing the best that she could. We didn't have a lot. And when I was in the thrift store as an adult, realizing the care and the effort my mom tried to put in for me and little things like that, it came to me, and I would always think, dang, because I love thrifting now. I love going in the thrift store. That's just my thing, and I find the nicest stuff. And I always know that came from my mom trying to instill those simple little things in me, like this type of stuff is not a big deal, but I made little things like that a big deal. First of all, I was a teenager, so that happens. But anyway, my mom is amazing, and it's little things like that will come to me when as an adult, especially with my kids. And I'm a lot more aware of those emotions that I felt back then, and it's just crazy. Anyway, I just got on here to let y'all know I love my mom, and I just hope that I make her proud, because I was something else. I was something else. And baby, she made it out with a child like me. And because I am who I am today, I thank her so much, 100%, for giving me the tools that I needed, that I didn't understand back then, but I understand now. I love you, Mom. Y'all, let me get myself together.